discuss. Rip, you have to love that Ja goes right to the MJ videos, to send a message, not just to the fans, to the opposing team, but to his teammates as well. What are you expecting from him tonight in Game 2?
Well, if you look at John Moran, especially over the season, the one thing that he always brings to his ball club is swag and confidence. One game doesn't lose the series, but they know that they missed out on opportunity when they're on their home court. I think the long layoff really hurt this ball club. I mean, they came out. Minnesota did a heck of a run in the first quarter, scoring 41 points. Just didn't seem like Memphis had their timing at the beginning of the game, and that kind of really cost them the game. So I just feel as though when you're a guy that's labeled as an MVP, one of the top 3 MVP guys in the league, a guy that's at your point guard position, he's your catalyst. The team feeds off him, so he knows that he got to have this team ready, prepared to come out and have a big game. And I feel as though that this game they're going to come out and they're really going to feed off their fans, and I believe they're going to have a total complete game than they played in last game.
We mentioned what Anthony Edwards did at 12 of 23 from the field, 4 of 11 from three-point range, and 8 of 8 from the free throw line. How do he and the T-Wolves replicate what they were able to do in Game 1 against a fired-up Morant and company?
Well, first of all, Anthony Edwards feels though he's the best player on the floor. I mean, I know a lot of people think that John Morant's having a great season, but when Anthony Edwards steps on the floor, he doesn't read any of the press clippings. He's only worried about him and his team, and he came out and showcased that. I feel as though he really fed off the playing game. He's turned into a star. He's coming out with the energy, playing both sides of the ball. He even guarded John Morant for some time in that game. So I just feel as though he's a guy that if the Minnesota Timberwolves is going to get through this series, he's going to have another big game. We all know what Cat's going to do. Cat had a big game, was scoring 29 points. He came back, had a bounce back game, played aggressive, especially in the paint. But Anthony Edwards is the guy because he has the ball in his hand most of the time. He's really good in pick and roll. He wanted the ball down the stretch. He was making plays at the basket and forcing them to foul him. So this should be another great test for him. His teammates give him a lot of confidence to go out there and play that star role for the ball club. And what I see from him, he's going to come out aggressive and have another big game also too.
Grizzlies giving 6.5 as that game gets underway at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. All right, over in Miami, Trae Young scored 102 combined points in 4 regular season games against the Heat. But the Heat had him iced in Game 1, Rip. He scored just 8 points. How does Young bounce back in Game 2 tonight?
Well, Miami, man, I mean, did you see how physical that game was?
Oof.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of the old school Detroit Pistons. But they came out physical. They knew where Trae Young was, wherever he was out on the floor. They was physical. They got underneath him. He shot 1 for 12. I mean, he was looking for the refs to kind of bail him out all game long. But Miami, they got up underneath him. I mean, Kyle Lowry, a guy that they brought in this year, a physical guard to kind of use his body. And anytime that the Miami Heat had a bigger guy on it, they would force him to try to make plays at the rim. If I'm the Atlanta Hawks and if I'm Trae Young, the one thing that he struggled was anytime he came down the floor, he had 5 guys looking at him. He has to understand that he got to play. He's not a guy that just plays well on the ball, but he plays well off the ball. So now they got to use him on coming off pin downs, coming off screens, playing behind the defense, where now instead of 5 guys looking at him every time down the court, it's only 1 or 2 guys looking at him. So hopefully he can bounce back. But if they keep trying to run him at the top of the key, Miami does a great job of focusing on him and knowing where he's at and playing real physical with him.
Kyle Lowry said how the Heat adjust once Young starts making shots is going to be a big factor for them. But what about this Heat team, though, Rip? How does their team depth compare to the rest of the playoff field when you look at them?
Well, Jeremy, they do it by committee. You never know who's going to be the guy for them. I mean, you look at Duncan Robinson, a guy that didn't, his minutes went down this season, but he came out and played great when he got in the game. He didn't worry about him how he's played in the past. He came out and was knocking down shots early and often. And that's hard, especially when you look in the scouting report and you say, all right, you know what, we got to worry about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is the catalyst of the team. We got to worry about Tyler Hero coming off the bench, a guy that's probably going to be 6th man of the year. We got to worry about Bam So we don't really emphasize a lot on a guy like Duncan Robinson. So yeah, they got so many guys on this team that can hurt you. PJ Tucker was knocking down shots. He wasn't just knocking down the corner three. He was actually getting to the paint, knocking down floaters also. So they do it by committee. They're not worrying about who scores the ball. They just worry about getting it done on both ends of the floor.
And the Heat, 7.5-point favorites going into Game 2 tonight, which tips off 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the first playoff game out of the gate on Tuesday. All right, Chris Paul scored 19 of his 30 points in the fourth quarter on Sunday to single-handedly thwart a New Orleans comeback bid during a 110-99 home victory for the Suns. Devin Booker, not shy in the praise of his teammate. Listen to this, Rip.
I mean, that man's a true competitor, a true winner, and he wants it that bad. So you can see it in his demeanor, you can see it in his walk. So it shouldn't surprise anybody. You know, he's built for these moments.
Rip, I mean, what did you think of Paul's play in that fourth quarter? Because really, he just took control.
Oh, he sure enough did. I mean, scoring 19 points in that fourth quarter. The one thing that he said after the game was that he kind of read the game. You know, he knew that his team was a little stagnant. And people forget, like, just because Chris Paul is one of the better leaders in a game, he's a guy that really sets everybody up on the floor. But Chris can still score the ball. He does a great job of figuring out where the mismatches were on the floor. He's seen that, when they brought a smaller guy on him, he kind of took him into the paint. When they put a bigger guy on him, he kind of kept him off balance to get to his medium range shot to knock it down. He understands time and situation. And when you're a point guard, especially playing in the playoffs and playing in many playoff games as he has, he understands that. He knew his team needed a bucket. He knew that they were getting stagnant out there on the floor. And when you're a great leader, you find different ways to win basketball games. And he really showcased it on the offensive end, especially in that fourth quarter.
Okay, so on the other side of that, how do the Pelicans turn this into a series with Paul playing like that?
It's going to be hard, Jeremy. It's really going to be tough. I just don't believe that they have that enough star power on that team. CJ McCullough played great. I mean, he did, when they were down, he did a great job of kind of bringing his team back, creating a shot, getting to spots on the floor. Ingram was pretty good in that game too. But I just think that when you look at the Phoenix Suns, they're on a mission. They got guys on this team that understand time situation. They understand that they got to come out early, and they understand that, hey, we just lost an NBA Finals game last year. I thought Aiden was great. I thought he did a great job of really, holding down the paint, even though, New Orleans did dominate the paint. They did dominate the rebounding battle for the ball club. But that's not enough when you got teams coming down, knocking down threes, and Phoenix playing fast for that ball club. So I just don't think New Orleans has enough.
It is the late game tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is the Suns 9.5-point favorites as they go into that one.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.